learn more about them and to become stronger readers. Well, today, we want to talk about a particular kind of change that happens to a character. It happens when the character is challenged. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about a time that I was challenged. When I was a kid, I was a little bit older than you, and I was riding my bike outside. And all of a sudden, I went by a car, and my handlebar scraped the entire side of the car. I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? So of course, I did nothing. I went back home, I went to my room, and I was hanging out, and I was like, no one's ever going to know. All of a sudden, the doorbell rings. And I hear this man at the door saying, my car has a large scratch on it that is about the size of your child's handlebars on their bike. And I'm sitting in my room, and my heart just starts to race. And right then I knew that I was faced with a big challenge. Something was going to happen, and I had to decide, was I going to fess up? Was I going to blame it on my brother? What was I going to do? So boys and girls, when your heart starts to race, you know that something big is going to happen.
And so today I'm going to teach you, and we're going to teach you about that part when you're reading a story or a book, when your heart starts to race, that lets you know that something big is going to happen and that your character is probably going to face a big challenge. And how they handle that challenge will reflect how they have changed in the story, which I know you guys have been talking about how Opal has changed in Because of Winn-Dixie that you've been reading. And you've left off in a part that maybe your heart is starting to race. It's the time of the big party and it starts to rain. And you're going to read a chapter with your teacher today that may even highlight this point more, that the character is going to face a big challenge. But I want to read you a little part of this story to get you ready to see what's going to happen. At the party, it's raining, and dog, squawked Gertrude. I looked at her. She was sitting on the kitchen table. The thunder was really booming and cracking. Oh no, I said. I looked around the kitchen. Don't worry, said Sweetie Pie. I saved them dog pictures. I got them right here. She waved around her wad of magazine pages. Where's Winn-Dixie? I shouted. I forgot him. I was just thinking about the party and I forgot about Winn-Dixie. I forgot about protecting him from the thunder. Now, Opal, the preacher said, he's probably right out in the yard, hiding underneath a chair. Come on, you and I will go look. Hold on, said Gloria Dump. Let me get you a flashlight and some umbrellas. But I didn't want to wait. I was running into the yard. I looked under all the chairs and around all the bushes and trees. I called his name real loud. I felt like crying. It was my fault. I was supposed to hold on to him, and I forgot. Now, is your heart racing like mine is racing in this part of the story? I'd like you to turn and talk to your reading partner about what challenge do you think Opal is facing right now? What is the big thing that's happening? Okay, readers, thank you for talking to your partner. I want to know if anyone thinks Opal is facing the possibility of losing her dog Winn-Dixie. Give me a thumbs up if that's something you and your partner talked about, that was the big challenge, losing Winn-Dixie. Good, thank you. I agree. I think that since Winn-Dixie was one of the very first friends Opal met in this new town, Naomi, she's really worried that something's going to happen. And I'm wondering if all the ways that Opal has changed in this story are preparing her for what she's going to do in the face of this big challenge.
Yeah, readers, I want you to think about characters in your own book that you're reading. And I want you to think about those places, those times when your character was facing some kind of big challenges, a turning point. Or maybe your character learned a lesson, and what made that happen. I want you to think about that, And I want you to jot your thinking on your post-it or on your paper right now. Try to think of a place where you're reading and then there was a big challenge for your character. It made your heart pump. And then you were just anticipating what could happen.
What should be the goal right now? What should be the goal right now? This is not because of what they see. Where is it because of what they see? This is a problem. Where are your things?
You can think of what kind of challenges your character is going through.
We're talking about the character, right? And then of the books that we have read, you try to remember the other books you've read. Is there anyone who faced a challenge? Have you read Fantastic Mr. Fox? If you've read that, maybe you will remember something.
Okay, readers, so we have thought of a time in our own independent reading where a character has faced a challenge. And do you know that we've all faced challenges in our own lives too? Do you know this? Just like Ms. Harrison shared about her challenge that she faced where her heart started racing, we face challenges too where something has happened to us and our heart starts beating really, really quickly. And what I would like for you to remember is that as you read today or tomorrow or next month or next year or 5 years from now, this is something to keep in mind that when our heart starts racing when we're reading a story, that's usually about the time when a character is facing a challenge. And when the character faces a challenge, this is just another way for us to interact with our story. So what I would like for us to do is we're going to go into our own independent reading. And when you're doing your independent reading, just kind of keep this in mind that this is something that I should be looking for as I'm reading. And if you want to jot it down, you can jot it down in your thinking. So let's all go into our independent reading. And